Welcome to the first edition of Bucky Talk, where we talk Wisconsin sports. This is Selection Sunday. The Badgers just played Illinois, fell after a really good effort, and they are slated to play James Madison in the first round of the NCAA tournament Friday at 8:40 Central Time. So, yeah, what are your takeaways from the game today?
It's a good game. Team played well. Chucky played well. Store played well. It was a good look for the team. Best they've looked in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, my personal takeaways is we have a bunch of momentum going into the tournament. That's as much as we really wanted out of the Big
Yeah.
Ten tournament. So I think that's as much as I can ask for. Store's playing phenomenal. Store's playing phenomenal. Chucky's coming to a light of his own. The one thing that I would like a little bit more is our front court. We've Wall has not played well the last three, four
Uh,
games.
he's been struggling.
Crowell's been good. He's been better. I mean, he was good the first two games
Crowell's
and then
been
kind of
better than he
faded
has
off.
been.
Yeah, I would like to see him be a little bit more aggressive. There are times when he has open looks outside and he passes them up. I think that's something that he can work on in the offseason. Obviously, it's not going to change right now, but I think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, he is a high percentage shooter, but it's because he doesn't shoot a lot. He still has that high percentage, and I trust him taking a three if we absolutely need to. But yeah, I also think the front court isn't going to be what wins us games in the tournament. It's going to be the back court, and that bodes really well. Most teams in the tournament win on strong back courts.
Yeah.
So with Chucky, with AJ, with Klesmit all rounding into form, the Badgers will be a force to be reckoned with in the NCAA tournament. The
Yeah.
thing that I'm scared about is James Madison.
James
James
Madison's
Madison
not a
is
good draw.
it was that's really rough. But when you look at the seed list, it's obvious the committee. I think we would have moved up to a four had we closed out the Illinois game.
I think
But
so.
yeah, it sucks. But what this team, I was nervous coming into the Big Ten tournament. They surpassed all my expectations. And this team, when after a loss, I think they know how to deal with adversity. I mean, they lost to Purdue, and a week later we beat them. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
after playing two games, I think today was a little bit of a product of us getting tired of just kind of at the end of games. Our shots weren't falling. We're kind of settling. There's that one Store mistake that I haven't seen him make a mistake like that all year. And I
Yeah.
think that's just a product of getting tired. So the nice thing about that is we have the late game. We are the third last game to tip off in the entire first round. So we're getting as much rest as we
Yeah.
possibly
It bodes
can.
well for us.
So I think that's fantastic. Um, yeah, I mean, just back to today, I think we did a good enough job on Terrence Shannon Jr. And Damask is just too good in the post, especially backing down people. There was only so much Klesmit and Wall we're going to be able to do. And
Yeah, pretty
before
much.
we talk about the refs, we allowed two players to go for 60 points. You're not going to win with that. I mean, say all you want about Terrence Shannon Jr., he's a phenomenal athlete. But, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
he's a phenomenal athlete. Damask is a phenomenal basketball player. And
They're good players.
yeah, the thing that frustrated me the most was the inconsistency on a block call, on blocks. They
Yeah, that
were
was
touchy block calls, which by rule is a good call. The problem is it wasn't being reciprocated down at the other end. And like that Klesmit one, and then the next play down, Chucky gets more contact where Terrence Shannon Jr. jumps into Chucky. That should have been a foul. And obviously it wouldn't have mattered in the long result. And there's two calls that really I think changed this game. And there's also two moments outside of that that I think change this game and swing this in Wisconsin's favor. The first call is that Chucky call and Terrence Shannon Jr. call. The second call is that Wall fouling out.
Yeah.
That foul probably should have been on Klesmet. If you're going to call that foul, that should have been on Klesmet because Wall was absolutely clean. He got nothing but the ball.
Yeah.
If you're going to call a foul there, that should have been on Klesmet because he was in the body. I don't know why they gave it to Wall. So, and then the two other moments, end of the first half, Badgers were up two, 40 to 38, and I think we missed a shot. Comes out to Terrence Shannon Jr. Nobody picks him up outside the 3 point line. He hits a three. We're down 1.5. And then the other one is again us not picking up Terrence Shannon Jr. outside the 3 point line. And maybe it's just small mental lapses at the end of halves, just from fatigue. Because I mean, for I think 40 minutes, our defensive intensity was there. I
Yeah.
mean, the boxing out, that's just they were missing so many shots strong. We boxed them out well enough to the point where the strong rebound was helping them, you know? And that's something that like you can't help with. I mean, I that's just not on us. I mean, that's just a matter of oh well, that stinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, regardless, incredibly proud of the way they battled today. I mean, yeah, you can't really ask for much more. It's just it is what it is. They're 5 seed. They're playing James Madison in Brooklyn at 8:40 p.m. So yeah, it's gonna be a long night.
It's good to see
A
him
nervous
back.
one. But yeah, I
Yes.
think the keys to that game is gotta be we have to control the backcourt and we gotta get out fast. I mean, that's it. We gotta control the backcourt. We gotta get out fast. That's the keys. What do you think? I've talked for a while, so I'll let you have your moments.
James Madison, very good 12 seed, not who you want to play in the
Yeah,
tournament. However, to the
yeah,
best of my
especially that.
knowledge, it
Yeah,
is their first time in there, right?
I think one of the first times.
The first time
But
they've been in, at least for a while, at least though.
yeah, certainly for a while. They were undefeated in non-conference. They 15-3 in conference play. Um, three losses to I think three losses to here. Sorry, I'm pulling this up. Here. They're all in January, I think. Southern Miss, Appalachian State, and there's one more. Yeah, there's one more loss that they have in here that I'm just not finding.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Whatever it
yeah,
is, I think the Badgers are going to have a lot more. They're going to be a lot more prepared for the game because they've been there
yeah,
before. They still have Wall, who is there. They've Crowell. They do have that veteran mentorship, which
yeah. A
say
lot of experience.
the experience
I
helps you
mean,
win games, whether you like it or not.
yeah. I mean, I think three of our starting five from that Iowa State loss are in the starting five right now.
I
Obviously,
think so. Yeah.
Store, Klesmet, have never played in the NCAA tournament, but Klesmet was on the team that went to the NIT semifinal last year, so he has some postseason experience.
Is something.
Store never been to any postseason tournament at St. John's, and so, but I'm not really worried about him. He seems like he's built for the big moment, but
He does.
the
After
thing
that
that
30 bomb.
yeah, 30 bomb, back to back 20-point games. And I mean, you can't really ask much more from your star player. And
Yeah.
the one thing that makes me kind of chuckle is like all the Illinois fans think that he's um going to be playing for Illinois next year. I don't see it. I mean,
No.
the reason why he came to Wisconsin was it was closer to home. I mean, he could transfer to Northwestern, but let's be honest, he probably won't transfer to Northwestern. If he
It's
does
Northwestern.
anything, I think he declares for the draft without an agent. He's very raw, but um yeah. We'll get into that once the season's over. But yeah, one order of business that I want to address is the women's basketball team making the WNIT for the first time in 14 years.
It's big.
Incredible job by Marissa Mosley. I think she's taking the program in the definite right direction. Back-to-back years with a bye in the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, this year didn't pan out the way we wanted it to, but I certainly think she's taking the program in the right direction, and it's good to see. I mean, I'll certainly be watching because that's who I am, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations to the women's basketball team. It's fantastic, and yeah, it's going to be a fun week for Wisconsin sports because both Friday night the men's basketball team and the women's hockey team play in the NCAA tournament. The women's
Yeah.
hockey team is in the Frozen Four, and then I think the Badger men's team might have a first round game in the NCAA tournament, and then obviously you have the WNIT, so which is a 64 team tournament. So who knows? We could be in shape for the like best stretch of Wisconsin athletics or the worst stretch of Wisconsin athletics history.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to talk a little bit more about the bracket. So here,
There's some picks.
yeah, here I'm gonna pull up the full bracket on my phone here. But just looking at our region, I'm not gonna talk about the other regions, but the 116 is Houston versus Longwood. The 8-9 game is Nebraska versus Texas A&M. So if we were to get to the Sweet 16, we could potentially play Nebraska, a team that we took to overtime at their place. Obviously, we blew a lead, but we
Yeah.
also beat them at home. So there's that. Then it's Wisconsin James Madison in the 5-12 game, Duke Vermont in the 4-13 game, and then down in the other bracket, down in the other half is Texas Tech, NC State in the 6-11, Kentucky, Oakland in the 3-14, and then Florida versus the winner of, was it
Colorado,
Colorado,
Boise
Boise
State.
State? Okay,
Yeah.
Colorado, Boise State. It's not coming up for me. And then Marquette versus Western Kentucky. So, couple familiar opponents for sure. The Wisconsin fan in me is absolutely pumped because I'm the ultimate optimist. I think we're gonna win every game. I think we're gonna win a national title every year. But the path to our Final Four goes through Duke,
It's a rough Final
Houston.
Four.
What?
It's a rough road to the Final Four.
It's a rough road, but as a Wisconsin fan, it was so much nostalgia from when I was little. Like I have a 2014 banner from when we went to the Final Four in the room. So like the fact we could end up playing Kentucky in the Elite Eight, that just makes me happy. And the fact we could end up playing Duke in the second round, that's what I need. I need us to play Duke in the second round just because I have
Yeah.
so much pent up anger from 2015 and yeah.
If Duke wins,
What if
uh,
Duke
Ver-
wins?
Vermont's a good team.
Yeah. Vermont's a good team too. America East, obviously they run the America East, so I don't think it's a tough out. I don't think there's an easy out aside from the 215 and the 116. I think every game is going to be competitive
Oh
in this
yeah.
region. I mean, even Oakland, Kentucky hasn't looked the best as of late.
No,
I mean, they
Kentucky,
went
not the
from
best defense. Can't
yeah,
really shoot a free throw.
they went from beating Tennessee on the road to I think losing at home. So it's just such a toss up. I mean,
Yeah. Which Kentucky are gonna get?
yeah. And then like Duke was looking phenomenal all year. They were in the top 10. And then they just kind of hit a lull recently with the loss to North Carolina at home, and then also the loss in the tournament, which I think was first round at Texas A&M, which is also in this region. So I
It's a strong region.
there was something funny cooking in here. It was it was something funny was going on. I'm just gonna say that
Yeah.
because we got conference foes all over here. I mean, we literally could see a potential Elite Eight matchup of NC State versus Duke, another in-conference game
Yeah.
in this region. I mean, I don't want that to happen because, you know,
No.
Of all the one seeds, probably I obviously feel better about Purdue since, Saturday happened, but I don't think they were gonna put us in the same region as Purdue. I feel the
Nah, I
best
wouldn't think
about
so either.
I feel the best about Houston, especially after Saturday. I mean, maybe they're pissed off, and I feel the
Houston's a
best about them.
weird team.
Yeah, they're so inconsistent, but when they're good,
When
like
they're good, they're good.
nobody in the country can play with them. But when they're not on, they're not. They're just
They're
not
not
there.
there.
And they're so front court reliant that I feel like if we were to play Houston, we could easily take advantage of that. I
I
mean,
think so.
Tyler Wall could just go to town on their bigs. And that's what I remember from a couple of years ago when we played them, is Tyler Wall just went kind of nuts. I mean, obviously Johnny Davis had 30 points, but
Yeah.
I think I'd feel comfortable. I feel more comfortable in a big AJ Store performance than I would in a Johnny Davis performance. Because he just kind of have games where like he gets a quiet 20 points where I feel like every game AJ Store is doing something phenomenal. And Johnny Davis was a phenomenal Badger, phenomenal basketball player. But I almost feel like AJ Store is better for this system than Johnny Davis is, you know?
For the system, I can see it.
Yeah. And I think he's such a raw talent that, and I think Guard's going to relate this to him, is he's such a raw talent that making that one more year in college could actually improve his draft stock. Because right now, I
I
don't
think
see him
so.
being a first round pick. If
No.
anything, I see him mid second. And next year, he could really challenge for like a national player of the year. Because he's on such a heater right now. I think he's going 30
Yeah.
straight games in double figures. That's nuts. I don't think Johnny Davis had these kind of numbers. He might have, please fact check me, but I don't think he had these kind of numbers. So yeah, I don't know. What's your take on this region?
It's a tough region. You get Houston as the one seed who was, I mean, they lost on Saturday, but they were the one seed ending the season. You have
Hmm.
Nebraska and Texas A&M, who are very strong 8 and 9 opponents. And then, I mean, I would say James Madison is the best 12, but even then, I don't know if they're better than McNeese.
Yeah, I think
But
Manise is easily the
just
best 12. Those were
with
the two
how
teams I did not want
deep
to
the
play.
12 seeds are,
Yeah,
with how
I
deep the
think
12
this
seeds are,
there's
I don't get it this year.
this is a crazy tournament because I mean I think this is the first time in a long time that we have 10 seed plans.
Yeah,
Like that in and of itself is nuts. I
it's a
remember a couple
strong
years ago
year.
we had a 12 seed plan because they just went absolutely chalk in the conference tournaments.
Yeah,
And to me, that's what makes March Madness the most fun, is because we have less big teams, and obviously the I think the Final Four is going to be pretty chalk at this point, but
yeah, I'd say
there's
so.
potential to just go nuts because I don't feel comfortable in any of these teams winning on any day. I think they will.
I think they will, but
Like,
there's
like,
teams even like for the second round, I wouldn't bet on any matchups.
yeah. I mean, specifically just with the one seeds. I mean,
I
the
mean,
only
feels like all of
team
them
that I
lost.
really feel comfortable with is UConn. And even then, they've had just absolute days where they don't show up.
Yeah,
And you could beat them down low if that's what you want to do. And if you're a good perimeter defender and you have a team that's full of good perimeter defenders, you could beat them.
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. But the Wisconsin fan of me loves this path to the Final Four just because of who we're playing. And I'll never forget that Aaron Harrison shot. I'll never forget the Grayson Allen run. I'll never forget like some of these moments. I mean, we could see a regional final of Wisconsin Marquette, and I just know Twitter would be toxic for that, and I'd be here for that.
That'd be a fun
So,
matchup. It'd be fun to see
oh
that
yeah,
happen again.
yeah, uh, yeah, that'd be fun. So, obviously, this is right after the bracket was released, but what do you think happens on Friday
For
for the Badger game?
for the
Yeah.
Badger game. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a toss up. It's a 5-12, so it's like, oh, you should win, but that's just
Well,
such a bad matchup.
hmm
I'm gonna
well,
say the Badgers win.
but it's gonna be like this.
It's gonna be such a close game. I don't feel I don't have all my money in on the Badgers as much as I want it to. And a James Madison upset, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah,
And that's
I
what
mean,
scares me the most.
I think this is capable of making a deep run. It depends on if we carry this momentum from the Big Ten tournament into
Yeah,
the NCAA tournament.
that's what has to
If
happen.
we can, if we can carry this momentum, we could beat anybody in the tournament. The problem is I don't think we played 4 games in 4 days. We played two of we played the two best teams in the conference, without a doubt. I'm not gonna sit here and say
Oh yeah.
Wisconsin was the best team in the conference
I'd say the three
because
best teams, honestly.
yeah, Wisconsin, Purdue, Illinois
I
were the
think
three best.
Northwestern was next.
Yeah, after us, but I think there's a steep gap just from talent. I mean, obviously we had a rough stretch, but since Kamari McGee's been back, we've been the best or one of the best teams in the conference, and I think it
Yeah.
shows. I mean, it's just very.
Getting Kamari McGee back is huge for the team.
Oh yeah, because he allows Chucky to kind of just take a break off, and I think
Yeah.
that's seen an uptick in his numbers. I mean, I think he went back-to-back days with 20 points, and there
Yeah.
was a moment there today where he just looked like he was scoring every time he was going down the floor. So, and he took over late versus Purdue. So, yeah, I think my player to watch in this tournament though is Max Klesmit. I
Oh,
think
for sure.
he's always been the guy. You know, we have the big name players. Chucky's obviously known for hitting that buzzer beater or the bank in three versus Purdue. And you know, he took the shot versus Purdue on Saturday, but when it's come down to it, Max Klesmit has been the guy that takes the game-winning shot for us. And I think I think back to the Marquette game 2 years ago or a year ago. I think it was the NIT and Max Klesmit hit a dagger three uh Purdue yesterday. Or I mean even today
Or
he hit
Marquette
a
this year.
big yeah, Marquette this year. Or he showed up in the first half. He got us that lead. This team, I think, is very dependent on which Max Klesmit shows up. And even if
Yeah.
he doesn't show up, if he's able to affect the game late, because he's such a streaky player. I think there was Indiana this year at home. He was like 0 points, 0 for 4 shooting, and then out of nowhere, he goes on a 21-0 run just by himself.
Yeah.
Like that's if he can just find it in games. It doesn't have to be for an entire game. It just has to be for 5 minutes. And yeah, or I think every game one player is going to step up if we get
That's
to
what has
this
to
type of
happen.
theme. That's what's been happening. And you know, Thursday it was John Blackwell. Friday it was AJ Storr with 30 points. Saturday it was Chucky Hepburn. Today it was Max Klesmit. I mean, every game one, and I guess you could make an argument it was Chucky again today. But every game one player stepped up. So I think right now it's just about getting healthy and making sure that we're ready to go on Friday.
Yeah.
You know, Chucky's a little bit banged up. Klesmit's banged up for sure. Wall's banged up. So yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah. Final
depth of
thoughts.
Wisconsin is really going to help make the
Yeah.
run.
One other thing, Blackwell has got to find his stroke, his rhythm, because after Thursday he's just kind of been off. You know, he hit the
Yeah.
dagger three versus Northwestern, but he was a little bit off today. He looked a little unsure for the first time. I know he's a freshman, but yeah. Another player I think I want to mention is Connor Sejan. He's the type of guy that like Wisconsin's not going. He's had such an up and down year, and mostly down, but he's had a year where like you could just see it happening,
Oh,
where
for
all
sure.
of a sudden, Like he's a different player, and he just goes inhuman. Like we saw a little bit of that against Maryland, where he just went like nuts within the span of no time. I think that could happen with Connor Seaton. He's that kind of player, and I've seen the defensive intensity come up with him, and I could see him getting minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Final thoughts from you?
think you cover most of it. Just got to rely on the depth. Got to have the big players step up, and if they don't, who's going to fill their shoes?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll record Friday, and we'll see what happens. It's Friday or Saturday, and then probably Monday or Tuesday we'll put something out, and yeah, we'll keep you
Yeah.
posted. Thanks for watching the first episode of Bucky Talk.